G'day gang. Welcome back to the channel, MPNumbers, and I appreciate you being here, even with all the quietness we've had on the channel lately. Today we're looking at the Historic Artisan event on MTG Arena. Now, for those of you not up with the lingo, Historic basically means you can use any card that has been printed on Arena, back to Ixalan all the way to the current sets, as well as a handful of cards that have been added in to help build the format up. Artisan means that we are only using commons and uncommons, no rares, no mythics, no special rarities, and basically decks are restricted to that. There is a small list of banned cards, including Persistent Petitioners, Cauldron Familiar, Cavalcade of Calamity, and Gates Ablaze. Those cards, unfortunately, don't really allow for a fun meta and let you get a bit more creative with the deck building, because we all know if Cavalcade of Calamity wasn't banned, that's what I'd be doing pretty fairly. Today, we're going to be looking at two decks. So I used two decks to get through the event. You can use the timestamps in the description if you want to look at one, not the other. But we started on a Sultai Hexproof deck, got a couple of wins with that one, and then we finished up with a mono-white Lifegain deck. Both decks are fun in their own different ways. The second one definitely more powerful if you're looking for quick and easy wins. Definitely way to go. If you want to try something a bit more creative, the Hexproof deck is a lot of fun. Look, let's just jump straight into these decks. Like I said, use those timestamps to skip, but let's look at Sultai Hexproof. Now, the Hexproof decks have always had a special place in my heart. The first homebrew deck that I won a store championship with was a Hexproof deck back in, it might have been like M15 day, M14. It was a while ago, but it was a very fun deck in a similar kind of capacity. The way I've built this deck, now I've gone for Sultai for a couple of reasons, and mostly it's the creatures. So the 16 creatures we're running are play sets of Jade Guardian, Vine Mare, Night Vale Predator, and Soul of the Rapids. Of course, these cards all have hexproof and can't be killed or attacked by your opponent's creatures, and most of them have a form of evasion as well. Jade Guardian is the weakest of them, and if you're looking to cut a creature, that'd be the one to do. So the idea, of course, is that you get these creatures into play on turn 4 or 5, and then you can suit them up with some enchantments and just start taking out big chunks of your opponent's life total. The enchantments I'm running at the moment are Mark of the Vampire and One with the Wind. The Mark gives lifelink of +2, and the One with the Wind gives flying and +2. The idea behind giving them lifelink is because I'm expecting to take some damage early on. Obviously, with our curve starting at 4 and not going any lower, means that, yeah, your opponent's going to get free reign to hit you for a few turns. And let's be fair, that the mana's a bit awkward, so sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out. You really need to start getting that life back in the later game. Flying, of course, is evasion. It helps you get the chunks of damage in when your opponent could normally just be chump blocking, because Hexproof doesn't stop them from blocking. There are obviously a lot of other auras you can try, and I'd love to hear your thoughts if you try something else out. The other main part of the deck that I look at is how I can control the early game, considering I can't play creatures early. For me, that's a 3 of Cast Down and a 3 of Murder, as well as a 2 of Cry of the Carnarium. I don't think that's optimized. It's probably a better way to run a removal package, and you can maybe even look at running blue bounce and counterspell. Instead, I like just killing stuff rather than shenanigans. Finally, the last 4 non-land cards I have are Opt, because it gives you a little bit of card draw, it helps you fix everything and hopefully get the right cards into your hand so you can get them onto the battlefield. Again, this slot is very flexible. For a while I was trying Curious Obsession, but once you've got 12 enchantments in the deck and creatures you can't cast till turn 4 with awkward mana cost, sometimes it just doesn't work out. You don't want these cards sitting in your hand. That's why I'm running Opt to minimize that and also help smooth everything out. Finally, for the land, I've gone pretty basic. I've got 4 of each of the relevant gain lands, and then I've just used the auto land adder to fill out the deck for me, and that is my 60. The deck plays out pretty much how you'd expect. You find some games where people play a lot of creatures early and get on top of the board, and you just can't catch up. Even if you do manage to drop your 4 or 5 drop, it's just too late. There's other times if your opponents take a few turns to get ready, you can just have a Vine Mare down, turn him into a 7/5 lifelink who can't be blocked by black creatures, which comes up a lot more than you think. Or you can have your Soul of the Rapids and make it a 5 mana, a 5 power lifelinker, and you just get it done. You know, you just get in and hit hard. The deck's fun. Like I said, it's definitely not optimized, and if you're a deck builder, there's probably a better way to do this. I'd love to, like I said, chuck in those comments and let me know how you would have built this deck and what the little tweaks are on how you'd make a good Sultai Hexproof deck. Now, the other deck that I used to get my wins and to complete this event is a deck that's a lot more my usual speed, the kind of decks you'll see on this channel a lot. We have a lot of 1 and 2 drop creatures, we're turning them sideways, and we're winning that way. It's a Lifegain based deck that is mono white. We're running 21 planes, and that could probably go down. In the 1 drop slot, we've got the Beloved Princess, the Healer's Hawk, the Leonin Vanguard, and the Soul Warden. All these cards gain life. Obviously, 2 of them have lifelink and attacking, 2 of them do it other ways. We've also got Ajani's Pridemate as one of the big payoff creatures in the 2 drop, with a Bishop Soldier who also has lifelink. At 3, we have the Angel of Vitality, which gives you a little bit extra life and becomes a 4/4 flyer pretty regularly without having to worry too much about that. And then finally, in the 4 drop spot, we've got the Twin Blade Paladin, which is another one of those ones that gets the payoff. Once you get 25 life, which you usually have, you're a double striker, usually getting in for 8 or 10 damage without having to put too much effort into it. Now, we only have 2 non-creature spells in this deck. The first one's Ajani's Welcome. Speaks for itself. It's free life game whenever you play your creatures. A lot of the time, you can go Ajani's Welcome on turn 1 into 2 1-drops on turn 2. Start on 22 life and then just go up from there. Finally, we've got the Silver Flame Ritual. Now, this is obviously a decent spell once you've got your board built up. If you do happen to get yourself into the late game, which doesn't happen a lot, makes all your creatures a little bit stronger, gives them vigilance for the turn to make sure you're not going to be messed up. And usually when you're attacking, you're obviously getting a lot of life back as well. This deck is nice and quick. Like I said, if you're looking for something just to play cards, just get your event done quick, unlock all your cosmetics, this is what I'd recommend. So the Hexproof deck is a bit more grindy and thinky kind of deck. Again, love to hear your thoughts on this one, how you build it differently. You probably trim a couple of lands. I'm not sure specifically what spells. Maybe throw a few combat spells in there as well. But it's definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a quick one to get out. The deck plays as you'd expect. You play creatures quick, you gain life, you attack, you pass. I believe there's a lot of different variations of this Lifegain deck running around. Some people conceding very early, even just seeing a Soul Warden or something come into play, opponents conceding because they've played the matchup enough times. Alright, so those are my decks for the Historic Artisan event. Obviously, this video and this event is happening right around the holiday time, so if you're still watching, make sure you take your time and have a happy holidays. Enjoy yourself whichever way you see fit. We will have one more video on the channel this year, hoping to do a bit of a year in review, what I've learned, what I would do differently, what I'm planning for next year, all that kind of stuff, because we've had a great year in terms of hitting milestones. Again, I have to say thank you everyone. We've hit 400 subscribers, which was my goal on YouTube, and we've got 1,000 followers on Twitter, which is pretty awesome as well. We definitely want to keep going up and up, so any ideas you have, any suggestions, obviously let me know. There are tons of ways to keep in touch with me in that description. If you really like what I'm doing, you can support the channel as well. There's a few different links you can click and do some stuff with. But I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you get back to your day. I've been MPNumbers. I really appreciate you hanging out. You've been awesome as always. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.